Welcome to QuickBooks Online 2017. My name is Tracy Walker and I'll be teaching you this beginner class. And the first thing that you have to do is select the proper software. On the online version, there are three main ones, such as Simple Start, Essentials, and Plus. They've also added Self-Employed. What you do notice towards the bottom is in Plus, you can track inventory and prepare and print your 1099s. This is the most popular, and it does have a few more reports in it, and this is the one I do recommend. First thing we want to do is go over your online setup. I'm going to show you your login screens, a setup interview, the import desktop data, and how to import an Excel file, along with setting up your accounting and settings. So your sign-in screen is from qbo.intuit.com. You'll use your username and password. This is for you alone. If you have multiple users in here, we will set them up later in the class. Now the first screen that comes up asks you for your business name, how long you've been in business, and if you are going to be bringing in the data from QuickBooks Desktop. But I want to show you all the screens so it's not a surprise to you. This screen goes over many topics such as how to invoice a customer, track expenses, track your sales tax, which we'll be going over today as well. If you do select Start Invoicing, it will take you through a step-by-step such as customizing your invoices, sending it, and receiving payments. But the main screen you want to get to is what we call the gear, which I call it an administrative console. So the gear sits to the top right. In here, you'll notice these are mostly administrative actions, such as company setup, importing your data, and setting up users. When you get ready to import your data, if you are coming from a prior version of a desktop QuickBooks, you can convert fairly easily by following these three steps, and it really is pretty fast. If you need to import data, it's not as hard as it sounds. All you're going to do is select the gear and your Import Data tool. This will open up to a CSV or Excel file template that you'll choose or select for your customers, vendors, accounts, and products. I chose first to do accounts, and I want to download a sample file. So you'll notice in the blue bar where it has download a sample file, you can click right on that. This will open up in Excel. It gives you a highlighted do not import data. This is for sample purpose. You go ahead and remove that, save this file as your own name, but this is your template to bring your accounts in. So it asks for your account number, name, what type it is, meaning is it a bank account, is it income, is it expenses, and a detail type. That means if you have a detail name for that, such as money market or sales of products and income, that is different from the account name. Once you have put all your information in, you'll save it to your desktop. You can even save it with the sample file name. I've used that before. And you'll come back to the import, select the Browse button. You'll select the Excel sheet you just saved and hit Upload. And it will map your fields. So it has detail type for your fields, any account names, account numbers if you use them. And as it brings them in, it will verify that there were 4 records and the type, if it's a bank account or income or cost of goods. So you get one more check before it goes into your QuickBooks. The next thing you want to do once you have imported all of your data is to go over to the Gear and Account Settings. Account Settings goes over your company, sales, expenses, and advanced settings of how you like to see your data inside your new console. So in here we've got your company name, contact information, and address. You'll also notice there's a logo to the right that you can upload your company logo that can print on your checks and invoices. This is your Sales tab, and the top one says Sales Form Content, so you can turn on and off different items in your invoice, so that when you go to invoice, the template that you'll be using in this case would have no shipping options on here. We've turned that off, and we don't have any custom transaction numbers. Next is the products and services. If you're going to be tracking inventory and you want to track your quantity on hand, you want to have both those on. And then messages, reminders, online delivery. I love using that for my invoices. Gets right to my client and they can pay right from that invoice. And also statements if you need to send those out on a reoccurring monthly basis, that can be set up. The Expense tab goes over how your bills and expenses are put in. So show items table on an expense and purchase form, meaning you're going to do a purchase order that creates a bill. You can also track individual expenses that are per customer that need to be billed back. And then purchase orders, if you use those, any messages. The Advanced tab goes over accounting preferences, chart of accounts, categories, automation, that's pre-filling forms, which I like to have on. You can find if you turn everything on and you decide you don't like something, you can go back to the accounting and settings and turn it off. The other breakdown of your advanced is automation, time tracking, currency, and then other preferences. Please go through all of those to determine what you will need or what you think you might need. Like I said, it's an easy turn off just by going back into the account settings. Next thing we're going to go over is manage users. In manage users, you can have multiple users. Usually on a general program that you buy, there's up to 5 users and then 2 accountant users. In the Manage User screen, you would hit the New if you wanted to add a new user to it. You can edit or delete. You'll notice what you're getting charged for. It shows is this a billable user? And then the accounting firm is towards the bottom where you can add 2 different accountants at no charge. In setting up a regular user, you have different options. You should be the administrator and should always keep those rights. If you do designate an office manager or something to have those, you can also limit them as well. But a regular or custom user, just select the check and hit next. Here is where you can limit it to see customers and sales, vendors, and purchases. If you're coming from a prior QuickBooks, it does not have all the desktop bells and whistles. These are what you have to choose from. Next, we want to go over the chart of accounts. If you brought it in from the desktop version, we want to verify they're all in there. And if you imported them, you also want to see that the Excel correctly added everything. So select your chart of accounts. And here this is selected by type. In this case, the type is a bank account, and you have your checking and savings. There are preset accounts in here for accounts receivable and accounts payable. But if you've added any credit cards or any type of inventory, they should be coming over. Now you'll notice to the right you can also edit, delete, or run a report, or simply view the register. If we view the register for the checking account, From the bank register for this account, you will notice to the left it's sorted by date. The reference number is if there was a check number, or in this case you'll see a MasterCard or credit card used, and the payee name and the payment amount, just like your check register at home. Now let's go to the gear and all lists. And the list here, your chart of accounts, any reoccurring transactions, those can be set up, products and services, any custom form styles, payment method, terms, and yes, you can use attachments in any of your invoices or billings, even to select correspondence, you can add attachments to that as well. Next, this is the main Craig's Design and Landscape service screen. This is when they open up their company. You'll notice you have a profit and loss for the month that you're looking at and the expenses for, in this case, that month. And that chart and a graph. You can customize these as needed. Also to the right, you notice your bank accounts, which is, in this case, your credit cards, checking, and savings. These mostly are set up to the right as for you to review any transactions that have not been entered from a bank feed. Next up, we're going to go over to customers. We're going to set up, create an invoice, receive payments against that invoice, make a deposit, and then view the deposit in our bank register. So this would be a normal transaction for creating income for your company. Going over to the right of your screen, you'll notice the gear, and then there's a plus sign. That plus sign shows all the activities that you can do through a shortcut. You can create your customers, vendors, employees, and do bank deposits along with journal entries from this screen. As you go into your customer screen, this is a customer navigation bar up here showing you if there's any estimates, any unbilled activity, overdue invoices, and then the last paid invoices in the last 30 days. If you need to add a new customer, you go up to the right green button, select that. When you add a new customer, you fill out the customer information with the name, address. You can also add tax information or attachments. You want to make sure to put the email in if you are using the email invoice option, and you can receive payments as well off that invoice. If you use a customer only once, you may make it inactive by selecting to the left. Once you've created your customer, you will go through a register of transactions for a period of time on your screen. It will show you any open or overdue invoices. It will also show you the last payments and time charges, and if there's any credit memos through this register. In a new transaction to the right, this is where you will do your activities. We could also have just gone to the plus sign and started from there. But you have invoicing, receiving payments, creating estimates, time activity, and statements for this one customer. In creating an invoice, you've already selected what you wanted shown on the invoice from your setup. Here is terms, invoice date, and they do have a crew number in here. If I was creating a commission statement, I might use that, and I can customize the name. We've come down, we sell products and services here. This is landscaping soil. They bought 15 bags of it at $10. It will extend the price out, and you will select any other items. Towards the bottom, you have an option to make a reoccurring bill. Say you're a gardener and you do reoccurring charges. You could have this statement run out and email to each of your customers every month. You can also customize this form. You can add lines and more information, and you can send this form straight to your client. Next thing we want to do is receive payments against the invoice. You can go through the plus sign or receive payments right from the invoice itself. And in there you'll select it, put your payment method, reference number, and in this case, undeposited funds. You can deposit directly into your checking account, but if you have multiple deposits, such as you're going in and receiving money from multiple customers with one deposit, you want to make sure that it goes into undeposited funds because will select it with the other checks. Now once we've selected this for payment and received the payment, we'll go ahead and make a bank deposit. The bank deposit shows all the different customers that you receive payments from, and you're getting ready to make a deposit at your bank. So the total deposit's $2,301.52, but what makes that up is 3 different customers. Now we can go right to our bank register where we deposited the funds, and we will see that deposit over to the right to increase our balance. Next up, we're going to go over to vendors, setting up vendors, entering bills, making payments, and viewing the payments in the bank register. So from the plus menu, you'll select vendors. Here is your vendor center, and when you open up to the navigation bar, you'll have open purchase orders, anything overdue, and any open bills, which you can drill down on any of these colors here and get a detail of what that is. You're also looking at an alpha of all your vendors. To the top right is new vendor. The vendor screen looks very similar to the customer, so you want to make sure you fill in everything possible, and that you also, if you are tracking them for 1099 purposes, check the box on the right and enter the tax ID. You also have options for attachments and to make inactive. Here is the register for the new vendor, and it will show any bills and checks, and you can make payments on any open bills. You'll notice to the right that the open transactions and overdue are the one bill dated 11/24. When you enter a bill, you'll select the vendor, the terms, and the bill number, and you can also choose from the account with a description and the amount. At the bottom, you can make this bill reoccurring. If you have a monthly car payment, you might set that up so that it automatically occurs for the period of the loan. You'll hit Save and New, and you will be able to see that new bill in your register. When you select your bill for payment, you'll go to the plus sign, or directly at the bill to the right, it will say Pay Bill. This is where you want to select the account you want to pay it from, your checking or a credit card, and this will record it in that register. You'll notice you have to check mark next to the bill that you want to pay. If there are multiples in here, you can pay them all, and it will produce on one check. You'll select Print Check. It will give you an option to view preview and print a sample to make sure that your printer is aligned with the voucher checks you should have bought in order to use the online system. This will take you to this next screen where you'll put in your starting check number and hit Preview and Print. This will give you a preview of what it's going to look like on your pre-printed checks. Once that bill has been paid, you can go back to the register and see the bill payment and the check number that it was written along with the date. Going back to the main screen, whenever you hit home up to the left, you can navigate to your different accounts through there, or you could actually hit transactions, and this will take you to bank registers. If we're going to go into a certain checking account, I can hit to the far right, and it will bring me to the different accounts I have set up. I highlight the checking account, and it will give me the option to go to the register. What you're viewing on the screen now are bank feeds. These come in to the account. You'll notice that the payee needs to be filled out, and the category needs to be matched up before you add them into your register. Just going into the register, I'm going to view the vendor check that we just printed, and we have that located at the top. You can also see your ending balance. Now we'll go in, and sometimes you just have UPS come in the door. You can go ahead and write them a check without creating a bill. So you'll go to your plus sign and select check. When you open up your check form, you'll select your vendor, verify the account. It will also show you your balance. And you want to make sure to put your check number in, and then go down to the middle where it has account. You'll determine how much, in this case, was freight, and the other item, which is an inventory item. So I can simultaneously, with this one check, add to my inventory and pay my vendor. Now we'll go on to online banking and reconciliations, which I will show you how to record your bank feeds and do a reconciliation on a credit card. To connect a bank or a credit card account, hit Add Account in the top right. Connect your account by selecting the icon of your bank, and it will prompt you to enter your password. Then you can download prior transactional data, or you can start with your current month. First thing you want to do is select the MasterCard account. You'll notice all the open items that have not been matched up. If there is a match on it, that means that it sees that check or ATM in your system already with the same date and same amount. You'll want to just hit match, and it relieves it out of the bank feeds and matches it to your original transaction. The other items, such as Amazon and Lara's, you do not see any matching on that, so you should have to go in, categorize, and add. When you open up the first item, you notice the payee field was not filled out. You do need to add that, and then select the category, such as office expenses, and proceed to add. This will add this directly into your check register, or in this case, we charged it to the MasterCard. Now we can start reconciling the MasterCard from the main screen. You'll select the ending bank balance from your bank statement along with the ending date of that bank statement. What this does is makes you select all the items on the bank statement. This is your double check system to make sure all your items are in. You'll select all of them, and at the very bottom, the difference should come to 0. If you do not come to 0, I recommend that you verify the beginning balance was correct and that you have selected all the items on the open list. Once you have come to 0, go ahead and hit Finish Now. This will now show that you've reconciled your first credit card account and you've got your ending balance. You can always go in and delete that reconciliation if needed and re-reconcile. Next up are reports and sales tax. We're going to view a few of the recommended reports and then set up and pay sales tax items. There are two main reports that I use, that is the profit and loss and the balance sheet. You'll also notice here the accounts receivable aging, that shows all your open invoices, and the accounts payable aging shows all the bills that you owe. You can run many different reports in here by hitting all reports, but these are the recommended ones. The profit and loss shows your income and expenses for a snapshot in time. You'll notice at the top we have the option for cash or accrual. When you set up your company, you should have told it how you wanted the reports to run. The balance sheet are your assets and liabilities. So here's all your checking accounts, any loans, all your inventory. And this report, again, is a snapshot of a period in time, and it can be run on cash or accrual. This is a summary. You can run a detail. The summary shows only what they owe through a period of time. It is a nice report for management. The next is the accounts payable aging. This is what you owe. And these, again, can be run in detail. You notice in all reports you can run it through a business overview, which handles most of your high-level accounting, your profit and loss, your balance sheet reports. You can also manage your receivables, payables, which has multiple reports to choose from in there depending on what your needs are. And you can also manage your sales tax. This is your sales tax center. You can select that from the left navigation bar. In here you can record tax payments and view reports. You'll notice off to the right is viewing the sales tax liability report before you make these payments. Once you have made the payment, it will record it in here, give you the gross sales, taxable sales, and the tax amount, and if there are any payments applied. In this case, we're showing a balance due to State Board as of the start of January, $370.94. In each of those tax rates, here's where you can select the different agencies that you would owe them to. You can select the bank account that you want this to come out of, the payment date, and the tax period ending. If you have any adjustments, it lets you make it here as well. You can now print the check or record your tax payment, as everything seems to be EFT these days. We also have the option in QuickBooks to do your payroll. I really enjoy it. I have 4 clients that I do payroll for through here. It is so easy. I can do it on my phone. It has a lot of different options for time logging, so I can have people log in and not be billed for that person to just record time. You'll notice in the screen to the left, you can view your client's home, your customers, vendors, employees, and certainly your sales tax. But the main thing at the bottom is that you have the option to order different apps. You can check on that. You can select any of the apps, and they'll usually let you try them out for 30 days on that. So just to let you know, there are so many to choose from that can really make your business more profitable. I want to thank you for joining the QuickBooks Online 2017. I know it's a fast and furious class I created, but I am available to come out to your location. I do one-on-one or group trainings, or I try and get you set up over the phone. So please give me a call if you should need anything. And again, look for new seminars coming out. I have one coming out for payroll and advanced inventory. Thank you again.